Good morning, this is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. A likelihood of thunderstorms and light sprinkles this afternoon and evening with a high near 87 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A variety of partly cloudy skies and possible thunderstorms tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 77. About the same tomorrow, around 88 with mostly sunshine. Mostly sunny Friday and hot around 89. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Celebrate Independence Day with savings that make a difference at the Humane Society's Thrift and Gift Store. June 28th through July 5th. Enjoy up to 60% off all furniture, 40% off all home decor, 50% off select electronics, and more. Every deal helps the rebuild of Bay County's only no-kill shelter. So when you shop, you're giving back. Shop smart and support a great cause. Only at the Humane Society's Thrift and Gift Store, where secondhand shopping saves lives.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? We can typically replace them while you wait. Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? In many cases, we can have it back to you the next day. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, just south of Tractor Supply. The best place in town to take a leak.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPN NW.
With all the changes we're experiencing, don't forget this one important aspect of your kids' lives. Hi, Doug Chamberlain with the Samaritan Ministries Family Health Checkup. Normally, there's a lot for kids to do this time of year, but these days we've had to get creative about keeping them busy. And we have a great opportunity right now amidst all the changes to help them stay connected to God. Here's some ideas. Teach them to look for opportunities to bless others, like sending a card to a shut-in or to someone with an illness. How about a video chat with a missionary? Next, memorizing scripture is always a great idea, and make it fun with a rewards chart. If you're able to go for a walk, have them take notice of God's creation around them and talk with them about what they see. There's so many things you can do to point them to God during this season, so be creative and take advantage of this time together with your kids. For more, visit us on Facebook or at familyhealthcheckup.org.
WGSX Lynn WFLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 Panama City Beach, right here in beautiful but hot and rainy Bay County. Appreciate y'all tuning in today. You can also watch, like, listen, comment, subscribe, share all those verbs there on our social media channels. That is Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. If you already follow and all those wonderful things, we appreciate appreciate that very, very much. You can also download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. Once you have it downloaded, all you got to do is ask Alexa or ask Siri to open the ESPN Northwest Florida app, and boom, it'll be right there on your tablet, your phone, whatever you can download apps on. And of course, you can head over to ESPNPC.com. It's getting ever so closer to the football season. I'll give you the official countdowns here in just a moment. But there's one thing you got to do while you're there, and that's look at the top of the page. You'll see Scorpion TV, over 5,000 live streaming channels, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, NFL Network, Red Zone Channel, and even pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, whatever it may be, it is on Scorpion TV. Over 400 local network channels from all over the country. It also has over 10,000 movies on demand, and with code ESPNNW, it's only going to cost you $45.08 a month. Because $45.09 a month was just a little too much.
I couldn't afford it at that, so they had to
drop it down. No, I get it. I get it. Makes sense.
Even the YouTube prices at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, check out Scorpion TV. And, we are a partner with Hard Rock Bets, and they got a lot of stuff going on in July. I'm going to start with one of the ones that maybe you guys don't do, but don't realize you can do. That is turning your weekend nights up just a little bit. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night after 11 p.m., if you're a night owl, you'll get a profit boost for a live table tennis bet. With matches around the clock, there is always time to serve up a late-night winner with boosted odds. A lot of times, too, you'll see a no-sweat bet, too, with table tennis. That basically means whatever you bet, if you lose it, you'll get it in a bonus bet. Usually, it's up to about $20 or so. And, of course, Hard Rock Bets is offered by the Seminole Indian Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. It's a interesting acronym there.
If you haven't downloaded the Hard Rock app, you really, really should, because you throw a $5 bet, they give you $150.
Yeah, and also, if you are going to sign up, let me know, and I will send you my referral link, because you get each person gets $50
That's
in wagers.
$200 for signing up and placing a $5 bet.
That's it. Just make sure you do sign up with somebody's referral odds. Chef Ross in the house today. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. Wish it would stop raining so I can get the lawn mowed.
Yeah, and every time it rains, it keeps getting
way bigger,
all that good stuff. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit of news from the NBA. A lot going on in the after the draft, the post-draft weeks. That is for sure. The end of the Bucks Lillard era, and a move from David's Indiana Pacers over there to the Milwaukee Bucks. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But first, got to give us the official countdown here to both the college and NFL football seasons.
There is an NFL game this month.
That is true. Hall of Fame game, right?
Yeah.
Coming up,
July 31st?
July, the last day of the month. So here we are. We got some football being played this month. That is certainly exciting. On the college football world, again, this is to week 0, not week 1. You can take that however you want. It is college football being played, but the first big week will start on August 30th. But 51 days, 12 hours, 55 minutes, 29 seconds, and counting to the kickoff of college football on August 23rd. And then, of course, the NFL season gets underway on September 4th. That is 63 days, 12 hours, 55 minutes, and 18 seconds away. It'll be here before we know it, and I know we'll have to start planning. I think he's already started planning our fantasy football leagues, as that's right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting a little. I can't hear me on this side, so I'm not really entirely sure what's going on. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we've got I've got the dates planned out, or one of two. It's either going to be on Saturday, August 23rd, or the 24th, and we'll start getting emails sent in here shortly.
Andy, I don't know if you can say this or not yet, but you're kind of mixing up the Champions League a little bit this year.
I mean, we're just going to revert back. I heard too many complaints. This is a free league. I heard too many complaints about the 16 teams. Not complaints necessarily, but just that it's 12 teams. They would prefer 12 teams.
Yeah,
so
16's a lot.
Instead of it being the top 4 in each league, it'll be the top 3 in each league, and we'll just keep going that direction.
Yeah,
also makes it to where I possibly won't have to fill in for people at the draft, but we'll find out. I love running around.
Yeah, you do run around a lot during the draft, but 4 leagues going on simultaneously will make you do that.
I will say, with that 16 league, our team league, if you don't draft well, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of people out there.
Waiver wire.
Yeah, and that's what makes it a little tougher as well. But stay tuned. More information coming up about those free ESPN Northwest Florida Fantasy Football Leagues. This will be what, year 4, 5, something like that?
I've been here 6 years, so 5 years at least. I mean, 2 years at Dave & Buster's, right? 2 or 3 years at Dave & Buster's. Definitely 2.
I think you're right. I think it was 3 over there.
And then we've had the one at PCB Hobby, a couple at Beef O'Brady's.
Yeah.
So at least 5.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to it, and we even have people. Keith and his wife have traveled down here the last couple of years to join that draft. All right, let's talk some NBA action. Basically, like I said a second ago, it is the end of the Bucks Lillard era. Yesterday morning, the NBA got some surprise news. Miles Turner is leaving the Indiana Pacers for the Bucks on a 4-year, $107 million contract. We all thought, wow, I can't believe he's leaving. The Pacers were supposed to make bringing him back a priority, and now Giannis is getting some unexpected help. Obviously, then we took a breath and wondered how the Bernie Madoff and the Bucks were going to be able to afford Turner. They didn't have the cap flexibility to outright sign someone like this, and Damian Lillard's $54 million contract next season, while obviously he can't play due to an Achilles tear, was the big reason everybody wondered if Giannis was going to finally look for a trade of a less injured pastures. Then the other shoe dropped. We know what that is. The Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the final 2 years and the $113 million owed to him. What does that mean for the Bucks and the money? Is this good news? Will this work? I'm happy to talk to myself and answer these 3 questions. What does waiving and stretching Damian Lillard mean? He's off the team. They've essentially cut him, but his money is guaranteed, and he is still on the salary cap. Stretching means his money divides on what's left on the deal over the next 5 seasons instead of 2. Is this a smart thing? It's definitely a risk. They were going to have 1/3 of their cap eaten up by Lillard the next 2 seasons. He wasn't going to play one of those, and he probably wasn't going to be giving himself much for the second season. Now, the Bucks finally have more flexibility, but about 15% of the cap each of the next 5 seasons is still dead money from the Dame deal. What does Damian Lillard do now? He's a free agent when he clears waivers. The 34-year-old can sign wherever he wants to sign, but he still has to rehab that serious injury that usually takes about a year. Can the Bucks compete with Turner on the roster now? Things are better than they were. Turner replaces Brook Lopez, and he's a more versatile defender. Still, they don't have a lead guard and likely won't add anybody significantly. They're hoping Kevin Porter Jr. converts his talent into consistency. Cleveland, Orlando, New York, and Boston still. Detroit and a healthy Philadelphia, and maybe now Atlanta, are all teams Milwaukee might be behind in the crowded East. Chef Ross, what do you think about Miles Turner coming over and them officially releasing Damian Lillard?
I'm okay with the Miles Turner deal. I mean, you can never have too many bigs in the NBA. What I did learn is Damian Lillard and Giannis were closer friends than I thought, because they didn't spend a whole lot of time together on the court in those 2 years that he played.
Yeah.
Either Giannis was injured or Dame was injured, but I want to say they only played like 30 games together total.
And I know Giannis was real upset once
allegedly.
Allegedly. You never really know.
Because apparently the tweet came out from his sister's husband or something like that.
Okay. Sister's husband's usually a good source.
I mean, the guy is a NBA insider that made this tweet, but there's some inside when it comes to the Giannis family.
Yeah, no doubt. David Hayes, if you can hear me, I think we can hear you now. What do you think about Turner? Now, obviously, you've got, Halliburton's going to be out probably the entire year next year. Miles Turner's now gone. What are your Pacers? What do they do from here?
We just dwindle until 2020 until Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, once he went down, I wouldn't have even won. I would have been ticked if we would have re-signed him for the amount of how long. Yeah, that would have been an extremely dumb move. So it was a dumb decision on Miles Turner's behalf too, because who knows what Giannis is going to end up doing. And then also it's kind of one of those things where the Bucks have become a rival to the Pacers.
Yeah, true.
And then you're going to go right there after we whooped their tail last year 4-1. So honestly, like, hey, thanks for the the time that you spent over there at the Pacers. But I think it's, man, he was so much slower these last 2 years. And then when your lead guy goes down in Tyrese Halliburton and you don't step up and be the guy that your team needs, because he wasn't. It was TJ McConnell who was out rebounding a 7-footer. So at the end of the day, hey, best of luck to you over there in Milwaukee. I hope that it's not lucky at all. And I hope Giannis moves on, goes somewhere else, gets traded.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think Giannis goes anywhere?
I don't know. It's getting pretty late, and all the spots are getting filled up. So I think he plays one more year in Milwaukee, and then they part ways. Or at the trade deadline, if Milwaukee's not performing well, they part ways.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, and that's the beautiful thing about all these professional sports, is you really don't know until that ink is dotted on there. Some other news from around the sports world, upsets everywhere in Wimbledon. If you are a tennis fan and you enjoy watching a great facility up there in Wimbledon and all the grass courts, you had a record number of seeded upsets in the first round. 13 on the men's side, that is a record, and 10 on the women's side, including the number 2 seed, Coco Gauff. She fell to Diana Yastremska of Ukraine, and compatriot Jessica Pegula lost to world number 116, Elisabetta Kokiaretto. There's some tough names, but and then number 3 seed Alexander Zverev was the highest ranked men's upset, falling to world's number 70 Arthur Rinderknecht. American Taylor Fritz, meanwhile, finished the job against Giovanni Mapesci Pettercard after their match was suspended after Monday night. But Coco Gauff, I believe, was the 2-time defending Wimbledon champion. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's a big.
And she just won the Aussie.
Yeah,
that's the first major.
That's the first major of the tennis season. Yep.
She just won the Aussie, so maybe she needs another mental health break. I mean, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about tennis. I followed it a little bit with Sampras and Agassi back in the day. Cheered against Serena, but after that, you just don't know of any tennis players. Yeah, they're not in the mainstream. Kind of like boxing. It was in its heyday with Tyson, and now I don't think I can name 2 boxers, and I'm not counting Jake Paul as one of the 2 boxers I can name.
He's officially ranked a cruiserweight now, which means he can fight real boxers if he does want to. Will he?
He could have been fighting real boxers now. That's
I mean, it's a cop-out.
But the one time that he did, which I don't know nothing about whoever he just fought in Caesar or whatever, but yeah. He's only fought one professional boxer in Tommy Fury.
Yeah.
Lost.
Yep, imagine that. Imagine that. Staying with the NBA world, OKC signed Shai Gilgeous SGA to a 4-year, $285 million Supermax extension. That's obviously a record for highest signed contract in NBA history. But he's the MVP. They won the World Championship, and then he was also the Finals MVP. So I feel like that was probably coming, right? Yeah. Absolutely. But these guys make so much money. It's insane. Now, they don't make Cristiano Ronaldo money, but they're
close.
They're getting there.
They don't make Shohei money either.
No, they definitely don't make Shohei money, which, but yeah, that Ronaldo contract, I think he's making, $4.7 million a week based on just his base salary. That is pretty wild. Pretty wild. The Knicks will interview Mike Brown a second time for their vacant coaching position. Also in there, Dawn Staley. She will not move forward. I already talked about the Jake Paul situation. Gold Cup coming up, I believe that's tonight. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, Gold Cup. We're playing Guatemala. I believe that is the semifinals there in the Gold Cup. And that'll be on 6 p.m. here in the Central Time Zone on FS1. But we look in good shape. We won the PKs in the quarterfinals over Panama, and our goalie did great. I think he stopped 2 or 3 shots in those PKs. So if you're a soccer fan and like to pay attention to the men's national team, the Gold Cup is getting close to the final. We're also getting close to 4th of July, and that usually means that. Chef Ross, I'm going to put you on the spot. You sent David and I a pretty cool exercise, and I cannot do it just off the cusp. But basically, it was putting together a fictional lineup using, for baseball, filling all the positions all the way through DH. And, you put one together yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun exercise.
It was fun.
I'll do it before next Wednesday so we can review mine.
A little trickier than I thought it would be. Also, a bunch of baseball movies I completely forgot about out there that were great movies. But anyway, my starting pitcher is Billy Chapman from The Love of the Game. Yep. He only threw a no-hitter in his last start.
He's primed.
My catcher, I have 2 catchers. I went with Hamilton Porter from Sandlot.
Yep.
And Dottie Henson from A League of Their Own, because she made the whole entire movie.
Dottie was she was a good ball player.
Yeah, she was the best of that whole movie.
Ham, though, he's a spectacular.
Yeah.
He's got the...
Got to go with the great Hambino.
He's got so much leadership and all that, too, so that's fantastic.
First base, Jack Elliott from Mr. Baseball.
Okay.
Playing in Japan as well.
Forgot about that movie.
Second base, Kelly Leak, the Bad News Bears.
Yep, absolutely.
Shortstop and team leader, Benny the Jet Rodriguez from the Sandlot.
You got to have some speed out there. PF Flyers, right?
Here... legends live. Our heroes will be remembered. Legends live forever.
Legends never die.
Third base, Roger Dorn from Major League.
Man,
he owned the team and played.
True. He just was prone to some errors.
And again, third base was pretty thin pickings, but Roger Dorn was.
He stepped up. Who got injured where he came in? I forget who it was. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to pull that one out of my bucket.
Left field, same movie, Pedro Serrano.
You got to have the marbles on there.
R.I.P. Pigeon.
Mm-hmm.
Center field, same movie, Willie Mays Hayes.
Got
to have speed.
No doubt. That guy covered.
That's like not the only option, but that's the option.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying before the show. Like you had to go with Willie Mays Hayes.
Right field, the natural, Roy Hobbs.
Nice.
DH is kind of a curveball in here, but it was a great movie, so I had to put it in there. Summer's Catch. I went with the catcher, Billy Brubaker. And my closer, Rick Wild Thing Vaughn.
That's another one. That's the only answer for that one.
You got the kid from... Oh, shoot, I can't think of the movie.
Major League... No, I know what you're talking about. The Cubs, right?
Yeah, the Cubs.
Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the year. Is that the one where...
Pete Crow Armstrong's mom was in that movie. She was the redheaded lady. I can't forget her name. I mean, I can't.
Obviously you did. Is that the one? Which is the one where he had like the snap arm?
Because he had to have a surgery on his arm, which made him throw.
Yeah,
wasn't that Rookie?
Was that Rookie of the Year? Okay,
yeah.
I'm just remembering.
Because he was in the bleachers, and somebody hit a home run, and he threw it back and threw the runner out.
Yep, another realistic movie there. Lots of good ones. We're talking about the favorites right now, all being knocked out. Some other news coming out of the NFL world. I don't know if you guys saw this one. Darren Waller had ended his NFL retirement and was reportedly traded to the Miami Dolphins for I don't know who they got for a 2026 6th-round pick and a 2027 7th-round pick. Obviously, he has not suited up since he retired for the league when he was a Pro Bowler in 2020. But with that trade of Ramsey and Jonnu Smith up to the Steelers, I guess that opened up a door for maybe somewhere he wanted to go. Tua does love those tight ends.
I was reading one of the NBA trades, and I think they were trading away a 2037 pick. I'm like, wow.
That's pretty far out there. Why do we not have a pick in this draft round?
No, we traded him in 1984.
Yeah, we traded him 20 years ago. Crazy stuff. But yeah, obviously that was another big news over the last few days. Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith and some picks and maybe some cash consideration as well, sending him up to Pittsburgh, and Mika Fitzpatrick going down there to Miami. David, did Fitzpatrick play with Tua Or he was before Tua, I think.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, the quarterback?
No, the...
Minka.
Minka, yeah.
Let's see.
I know.
That was, about 5 years ago for Minka Fitzpatrick?
Probably pretty close, right?
I would say, what did Tua come out in? 2019? Because 2020 was Mac Jones's year.
Yeah, and then 2021 was...
So that would have been, so 2019. So I'd say it'd be close. It'd be real close.
Maybe a little bit of overlapping there at some point. But hey...
Wait, are we talking about at Miami or...
No, in college at Alabama.
Oh, yeah, I think they played. Yeah, they played on the same team.
They're kind of having a little reunion then down there.
Yeah, but they might have played together at Miami as well.
Already?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you took the question further than I did, but we got to go ahead and take a quick break. You guys listen to the Inside Drive. I am, in fact, live on the air today, even though the last couple of days everybody's like, oh, great to hear you on the air. But anyway, we'll be right back.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with Wednesday's weather forecast. A likelihood of thunderstorms and light sprinkles this afternoon and evening with a high near 87 and a wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. A variety of partly cloudy skies and possible thunderstorms tonight, a light breeze and a temperature of 77. About the same tomorrow around 88 with mostly sunshine. Mostly sunny Friday and hot around 89. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. The locals love it.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey, live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive, your home for the Atlanta Braves. Game coming up tonight, right after the afternoon underdogs, right? 6:15 first pitch coverage starts there at, 6:15 first pitch, which means coverage starts right after the afternoon underdogs. They are trying to avenge that 4-0 loss yesterday against the Los Angeles Angels. Sorry, I went back there a little bit. But yeah, first pitch coming up at 6:15 tonight. Same thing tomorrow night as well, and then they will host the Baltimore Orioles in a 3-game series Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, same thing, 6 p.m. coverage, 6:15 first pitch, and then we kick it over on Saturday to a 1:55 coverage start, followed by a first pitch at 3:10, and of course you always got the matinee game there on Sunday, 11:20 coverage starts, and then 12:35 first pitch. We appreciate the Atlanta Braves being sponsored by Bill Berg Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing. Appreciate all those sponsors bringing you the Atlanta Braves. Some breaking news out of the NHL world this morning. Sorry, I had to take a quick sip there. NHL.
Little swig.
Little swig of the old Zephyr Hills. And I always used to call it Zephyr Hillis, which Peyton Hillis was running back, not a water bottle. Anyway, the NHL, NHLPA, and international officials on Wednesday finalized a deal agreed long ago to send players to the 2026 Milan Cortina Olympics. The League, Union, International Ice Hockey Federation, and International Olympic Committee confirmed the participation of NHL players at the games for the first time since 2014. The groups negotiated the agreement and announced it initially last year. The IIHF president, Luc Tardif, called it a major step forward for our sport. The final touches took time to figure out after officials insisted for months they were not concerned about the lack of signed document. The deal opens the door for NHL participation to continue through 2030, something that had also been agreed on in February of 2024. Last month, the 12 participating countries unveiled the first 6 players on their Olympic rosters. The men's hockey tournament at the 2026 Games is scheduled to run from February 11th through February 22nd. What do you guys think? Should be amateurs, or it was about time the NHL players were allowed to get back into the Olympics?
Are there amateurs anymore? I mean, once you graduate high school, you get paid for anything and everything anyway.
Well, you've got...
Can we just look at things at the level of which they play? Can amateur not be about, like... I know that's... I guess they...
I don't think NIL's big in college hockey.
Well...
Probably
no, I'm just kind of like, well, there's such a huge difference in the National Football League and the Collegiate Football League, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
the same
yes,
thing, yeah.
they make money, but now it's all the way down to the daggum teams paying. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of put those kids on the field with the NFL. We see it time and time again. They can't hang. You know what I'm saying? So there is a big difference in my mind, professional and amateur, despite of what you're getting paid. But yes, it's great for the hockey guys.
Yeah, you'd rather see the NHL guys playing than amateur hockey guys.
Well, yes. I mean, when it comes to answering that question, I don't know why, and that's not you grinding my gears, Chef Ross. It's just the whole professional amateur thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot more grinding my gears actually right now, but we're not going to dive into all of that. But yes, dude, it goes to why is the WNBA somewhat more popular right now? Because of Caitlin Clark. Yep. Why was the Four Nations face-off so interesting? Well, the fights, right? But there was also who was fighting that I think took the NHL of already fans, your hardcore fans, to another level. So for me, yes, it is more attractive. I have watched Olympics without the NHL players, right? There is a much stronger draw when it is the NHL players. I love hockey players, or the college hockey players, but I don't. Man,
nobody knows really unless you follow Denver.
Right.
Or,
I've never watched more than 5
Minnesota,
college hockey games.
Yeah, that's usually what the Frozen Four.
Catch-22 is more skate time, more injuries for your NHL team. I mean, who was it that was out the entire second half of the season?
Tkachuk?
Tkachuk was out the whole second half of the season because of the Four Nations.
Yeah. But
came back for the playoffs.
He'd do it again.
Oh,
he
100%.
would 100% do it again. So I think that's another. And this is crazy too. The NHL and the NHLPA, right? They're working on their CBA. They're about to go to 84 games. We're sitting here looking at the NBA, which they run up and down the court a lot. You know that's good and all.
Yeah.
But like when you get done at the end of the year and you look at the injury report and what you see on the NHL injury report of what these guys played through compared to what we see at the NBA, and I'm not, we're not talking about the Achilles, but it's like, and y'all are going to add 2 games, and we can't even get the NBA players to play 60 games in a season?
Yeah, no, it's wild.
NHL injury report is upper body injury, lower body injury. That's it.
Yep. They'll throw a head injury in there every once in a while, depending on what happens.
That still falls under upper body, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, Olympic hockey is so different than NHL hockey. The rink is bigger. It's much more of a skill game than it is that physical game. Now, you do have the Canadian-USA rivalry and all that stuff. But I mean, and it's not just USA guys that we're getting from the NHL. It's the entire teams that are competing in it. I can argue that
it's a disadvantage for the Americans to have all the pros in there because it's boosting everybody's roster.
That's actually a really fair point.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but your Canadian amateurs and all that, they're so damn good.
Yeah, they're good too. Yeah.
You're talking about some of the best amateurs in the world when you do that. But I mean, And the NHL players are still, there's so much international action. So, yeah, I could completely see what you're saying there. I mean, USA hockey at its core through college and all that has never been the same level as your Canadian major juniors, even your overseas a little bit there in, Sweden, Switzerland, places like that. But I'm excited. I just love outside of the NHL. I mean, I love the Four Nations tournament. That was fantastic. And I think whoever said that is right. It is good for the sport to get these NHL guys playing in the Olympics. And it's, they've gone back and forth so many times with, pros and amateurs and pros and amateurs. And we'll never have that 1980 scenario again. There's
the other problem is it breaks up. It's like right in the middle of the season. Yeah. So it takes a really long break away from the NHL season, where I believe Frozen Four is right around that same time, if not just before.
Yeah, it's the end of the winter college.
The college season is over with.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, and it'll be interesting to see how it affects the rest of the NHL season, but it's the one time when everybody is rooting for your country's team rather than specific players and all that jazz. But yeah, I thought it was a good move, and I'm excited to see how it comes to fruition next year. Then maybe, hopefully, they don't ever vote it to turn back again. Because let's just stick with one decision and move forward with it.
The cycle will probably continue.
Always.
Yep.
There'll be a reason why they need to take the NHL players out. And
well, it's like the NHL and MLB right now are the two sports that are exploding. NFL, well, I say exploding, but MLB is in a growth spurt, I would say. Yeah. And so much so that ESPN and MLB broke up, and now they're trying to figure out, all right, how do we fix this? Because ESPN's sitting there probably looking like, we ain't got nothing else going on this time of the year. How are we going to give up the one sport that's still going? So, yeah, it's I forgot where I was going. Continue on.
I was going to pivot, but go ahead.
So the NFL is kind of on the flat line because they really can't expand much more.
That's a beautiful flat line.
It's a high dollar flat line.
They're still nuts, are way above everybody else, head and shoulders above the rest of the sports.
Yeah. That's
the NBA is on a decline because of load management, shooting threes 80,000 times a game.
Yeah.
And hockey, Four Nations just sent that thing through the roof. MLB,
Florida being the hockey capital of the world.
As much as I hate Rob Manfred,
helped for the South.
Well, you got a lot of northern people that moved to Florida.
That's a good point, too.
Yeah. As much as I hate Rob Manfred, he is moving the line in the right direction for MLB baseball.
Well, so that's what I was kind of, that was going to be my point of that is, so when these leagues start getting popular, like they have to do things to get popular again. And then once they get popular enough, it's like, oh, we've done enough. So then they start sliding back a little bit and not, we don't need to give our players to the Olympics. That's, we need to protect our investments. But then when the product is low, it's like, we need to put our investments out there and figure out a way to repopularize.
Just the thought that hit my head is the Savannah Bananas are starting their own league next year with 6 teams.
Right.
Does that help or hurt MLBs? Because their social media presence is phenomenal. The games, I haven't been to a game. I really want to.
Yeah.
But their games seem crazy fun.
In the sense of entertainment, maybe they could rival Major League Baseball, but until the generation of baseball purists is out of the way, and I think there's another generation behind this generation that's still like listen, I think what that guy is doing, Jesse Cole, I believe is his name, is awesome and it's great for the sport. However, it is not the sport. You know what I mean?
It's its own thing.
Exactly. You can call it. I prefer it be called banana ball because it's not baseball. It's really cool and it's awesome and it's entertaining. But I will tell you this, as a sports fan or whatever, if that were to overtake baseball, I wouldn't even call myself a baseball fan. I wouldn't say that baseball was my first love anymore.
I don't think they're going to overtake them, but I think they're going to get a good chunk of that pie that's growing.
They're already getting a good chunk of it as it is, right? Selling out MLB stadiums. I mean, what they're doing is amazing.
It's almost its own sport. It's very niche. Mm-hmm. And can that niche keep putting butts in seats? So far, so good. Mm-hmm. But does it get to a point where it's so repetitive and it's the same thing? And I've never been to a game. Obviously, I've seen all the social media stuff. But
have you ever heard a bad thing from anyone that's went to a game, though?
No, you haven't. But how long can that rise to entertainment stardom.
So
continue.
Was 2 hours?
it's a 2-hour time limit. I do like the scoring system where you just score the inning.
Yeah.
I do like how the fans can catch outs.
And fans can catch
That's
outs.
pretty
That's
cool.
a good thing.
I think that at the end of the day,
I'm not a fan of no bunting, no small ball.
No, that's because it's not baseball.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. The trick play thing, whatever.
it's cool.
It's cool to see, but am I going to teach my son how to do a backflip catch?
Here's a comparison for you, and I'm not throwing shade at this company by any stretch of the means. Real golf, Top Golf.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of the same thing in my mind. This is entertainment. This is fun. It's not golf. Now, I get that the Savannah Banana guys are actually good at what they
that's
do.
Where
so there's the
difference,
difference. But I kind of see it as, you got your green grass guys. The guys are going to play golf on golf courses. And then you've got your group of people that are going to enjoy it off the course. Top Golf kind of doing okay in the grand scheme of things. Can it last? Time will tell.
Maybe more so comparable to like simulator golf.
Yeah.
Instead of Top Golf, because anyone can do Top Golf. Not anyone can get out there and play banana ball and not. So, but I love that comparison though.
Yeah, and
seriously, because that's spot on.
My idea of Top Golf is: do I hit a bucket of balls at the range, or do I go to Top Golf and hit a bucket of balls there, or do I rent the?
See, I see it more like: do I go bowl? Do I go to an arcade, or do I go to Top Golf?
Yeah,
I look at it as more like, because you're not going to Top Golf to practice.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I think some people do.
Well, and that brings up a great point because
they have closest to the pin games and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they have some skill games for sure. But this is completely off topic, but has to do with that. If you bring your own, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but I don't really care. If you bring your own bag of clubs to Top Golf to hit balls, that's ridiculous. I don't know.
I've never done it. I've seen it.
I've seen it, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Part of the stick with Top Golf is using what they have.
They have a special line.
Yeah,
I think it's a tailor-made line for them.
Well, like if me and a buddy know how to play golf, I'm not going to Top Golf.
Yeah,
I'm going to play real golf.
See, there's
if I'm taking
the
someone
underlying theme.
who's never played golf before, then we can go to Top Golf.
If I want to play golf, if I want to hit 9 holes, I'm going somewhere and hitting 9 holes. If I want to hit a bucket of balls and the range,
I'm going to
I may or may not go to Top Golf. I may or may not go to golfwithjay.com.
I'm not going to go try to work on my swing and in the background here, like glass, and all
Which
that
is not
stuff.
wrong
Well,
music.
no, not the music part. It's more the ambiance of like being in a restaurant.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what
Like,
it is. It's a restaurant that you can hit golf balls at.
Yeah, so like I'm not going to go practice there.
Yeah,
unless like or you go on a date or whatever.
It's
and the
raining.
girls.
It's raining.
If it's raining. No, I'm going to work at the range, bro. Even more so, I need to perfect my game in terrible conditions.
Yeah, because you're going to go out there and play real golf in the rain. Yeah, no.
As much as I play, son, they call me rain or shine out there.
That's right. So you got it inscribed on your bag that you don't bring to Top Golf. I just don't get it. I mean, I grew up hitting real like driving ranges because I wasn't a member of the club. The county courses that I always played at didn't have a practice facility, so I was always going to a driving range that had mats and had the warm things in the winter. But I mean, and again, it's kind of, we're circling all the way back to the growth of the NHL and baseball right now. Where were we going with that? Just where the growth?
Oh, what was the, essentially...
I don't know, because we haven't talked expansion, which both leagues are allegedly expanding.
WNBA just added 3, right?
Did you hear what Sophie Cunningham said?
No, but I'm sure
she's become uber popular since
she defended Caitlin Clark.
They won the Commissioner's Cup last night.
Yep. Yeah, without Caitlin.
It's just like, I don't know who's going to want to go to Detroit or Cleveland.
Oh, goodness.
What were we talking about? Or like, what was the point
we started
of that?
I don't know, because we didn't get to it. We started with, you guys were talking about the NHL is growing, talking about adding a couple more games.
Olympic hockey.
Because the reason why we got to that is because you hope that they keep the players there. And I was saying that, I mean, the cycle of sports probably proves it to be not forever, but maybe the next, 2 Olympics, we'll see the players, and then the next 5 Olympics, we won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, it's an interesting topic, that Olympic and non-Olympic. I was going to talk about the current QB situation of the 2026 class, but we can kick that to another day, because I want to talk next segment, NCAA futures, Heisman odds, and a cool story about Arch Manning, who is indeed currently the favorite to win the Heisman next year. You guys listen to The Inside Drive. We are a proud partner with Hard Rock Bets. We'll be right back talking some NHL, NCAA futures.
Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
Jason Mulder, owner of Best Way Portable Buildings, reminds you to celebrate this 4th of July. And be thankful for living in the greatest country in the world with unlimited opportunities at our fingertips. Best Way Portable Buildings, the best in portable period, and a thankful Golden Age builder. North of the Old Mall on Highway 231 and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com.
Cold, creamy, and gourmet. Milkshake Factory is now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch. Unbelievably delicious handcrafted milkshakes and chocolates like the famous chocolate bark. Try the mouth-watering chocolate dipped strawberry shake. Family-friendly fun and unforgettable shakes await. Milkshake Factory now open at Breakfast Point Marketplace near Publix next to First Watch on Back Beach. Milkshake Factory.
Your biggest investment is your home. Protect it while also improving its appearance with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. We have sand, mulch, gravel, or lay down decorative stone, all available for pickup and delivery. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Imagine the moment you proudly pull up to your home that you've worked so hard for, enhanced by quality mulch, decorative stones, and more. Let's make it happen today. Request a quote online at earthworkspc.com or swing by the office at 2005 Industrial Drive. Love the land you live on.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios.
Are you ready?
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
I love it.
It's the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
That kid was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Your home with the Atlanta Braves coming up after the afternoon underdogs. First pitch, 6:15. Coverage starts at 6. That is the second to last game here in the 3-game series against the Los Angeles Angels. We appreciate, Best Way Portable Buildings, reliable hydraulic solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control for sponsoring your Atlanta Braves coverage. All right, want to talk to you guys a little bit about some NCAA futures, some Heisman odds, and then I've got a good, interesting story about Arch Manning and kind of how he came to be in this whole lineage of the Manning families and their great quarterbacking ability. Chef Ross, there's 2 teams at the top with national championship best odds. Who are those teams?
Texas?
Yes.
Notre Dame?
No. Notre Dame is...
Ohio State?
Yes. Defending national champion. The 2 that played each other last year. And some said they should have put Arch Manning in the second half, but that did not happen. Texas plus 425. Ohio State plus 425. Followed by...
Georgia.
That is correct. Plus 600.
Where is Notre Dame on that?
They're a little bit further down, but we'll get there. Plus 600 for Georgia. Next at plus 650 is this Big Ten team. I gave you a hint there.
Penn State.
That is correct. And then next, you got another Big Ten team at plus 750. That is, again, another Big Ten team.
It can't be Michigan, is it?
It's not Michigan. No, Michigan is... pretty far down there.
Yeah,
it's 25 to 1.
I know Nebraska's moving up, but they're not quite there yet.
No. New addition to the Big Ten that...
Oregon.
Yes, that was a good hint.
I keep forgetting those are new Big Ten teams.
I know. That's right. Oregon at plus 750, and then it jumps up to 10 to 1 for Alabama, 11 to 1 for Clemson, 11 to 1 for Notre Dame, LSU 14-1, Michigan 25-1, Ole Miss 25-1, the Florida Gators 30-1. That may not actually be a bad future pick there. The Miami Hurricanes 30-1, Tennessee 30-1, and then it jumps up to Oklahoma at 50-1, and Auburn at 60-1, Louisville 75-1. So a lot of opportunities out there if you think a team's going to make a splash this year to jump in there and win the national championship. All right, let's do some conference odds, see if we can get these right. We'll start with the ACC. Who has the best odds to win the ACC at plus 130?
Clemson.
That is correct. Number 2 on that list at plus 375.
SMU.
Close. They're plus 650. Miami, I guess, with the what? Who transferred to Miami to be their quarterback? I'm trying to remember.
Dude from Georgia. Carson Beck.
That's right, Carson Beck, and then him and his GF broke up, and somebody broke into his house or car or something like that. He said, "Welcome to Miami," as Will Smith said, and Benito a Miami. All right, let's go to the Big 12. Top team, there's 2 tied. It's kind of wild. I'll let you each pick a team and see if you can get it.
I don't even know who's in the Big 12 anymore.
What are we?
Big 12.
Who wins the Big 12?
Yeah, the best odds to win the Big 12 conference. There's 2 of them tied at plus 525.
Texas Tech and Kansas State.
Kansas State is one of them.
Texas Tech not so.
Texas Tech is plus 600. Utah is also plus 600. This team plus 525 as well. I never would have got this one correct.
You would have never guessed this one?
Nope.
Iowa State.
No. It's good though. It's a good never.
Can't be Oklahoma State. No.
It's hard to give a hint that won't give you the answer.
It's not Kansas.
No.
About
definitely not Kansas.
TCU.
No, good guess though. TCU is plus 850.
Well, it ain't going to be Cincinnati. It ain't going to be UCF.
It's not Baylor. Baylor's plus 700, so they're 7-1.
All right. I mean, it can't be Colorado.
No.
West Virginia.
No. We're almost named all the teams.
I know, that's what.
It's, Colorado is 25-1 to win the Big 12.
All right, so, daggum. I mean.
Arizona's at the bottom at 60-1.
Is it Arizona State?
It is, plus 525.
No way.
Why are they at the top?
I mean, they were at the bottom
living
last year.
off of last year. Exactly.
A lot of those players they were living off aren't there anymore.
So who's the bottom team this year?
What's that?
Who's the bottom team this year? Because Arizona State was the bottom team last year and won the conference. So I'm about
Arizona. Arizona is 60
I got
to
$1 in Arizona.
There you go. I'm going to pay you 60. 61 technically, because Hard Rock always pays you back the dollar instead of deducting it. But anyway, Arizona State. Do they still have the same quarterback as last year? I'm trying to remember who that quarterback was for Arizona State.
The only Arizona State quarterback I can name is Jake Plummer, and he played for a long time.
Plummer. I saw a Cardinals preseason game at that stadium when I was a kid because my grandma used to live in Arizona, and Jake the Snake Plummer was the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And he played there at Arizona State as well. All right, Big 10. That's easy.
Was it Sam Levitt last year, or is he a freshman coming in?
That's a great question. He was somebody notable, I thought.
Well, Sam Levitt's going to be the quarterback this year is what it looks like. Okay. And he was at Michigan State last year, it looks like.
Hard Rock's projections are a little different than ESPN with the Big Ten, I'm guessing. Because I think ESPN has Penn State picked to win the Big Ten.
That's just for clickbait.
Yeah.
They have the most coming back.
No, I know. I know that there's a reality to it, but it's also the reality of what we, see from Penn State every year. James Franklin in the big games just,
It was Sam Levitt. He was a quarterback last year.
So he was a quarterback last year? So he did transfer from Michigan State in 2023 then.
Yeah, because he joined the Sun. Well, it says he joined the Sun Devils in 24. He's 20 years old.
Because I'm guessing Hard Rock's got Ohio State, then Oregon.
No, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, and then
that's weird. Oregon's got a higher chance to win the Natty without the lower chance of the conference.
I think it was. No, I think Oregon. Yeah, Oregon was 100 points behind. But I mean, you don't have to win your conference to keep going. But all right, let's go over to the SEC is pretty easy. Number 1,
Georgia.
No,
Texas.
Yes. Number 2.
Georgia.
Number 3, Alabama, plus 425. LSU, plus 900. And then it drops significantly to Ole Miss at 12-1. A&M at 14-1. Tennessee at 16-1. South Carolina, 20-1. Florida, 22.5-1. I think Florida's poised for they've got a gauntlet of a schedule again, but
Ole Miss has a pretty favorable schedule to get to the game.
Yeah. If you just get to the game, that's the big.
Because there's no conference, or there's no divisions in the conferences this year.
Yeah, there isn't. Sun Belt Conference. You guys know who's the favorite in that one? Plus 375.
Troy.
No, good guess though. They had a great season last year and the year before that. They're 15-1. Troy. It's the team that had to wait.
Yeah, it's
James Madison.
James Madison, a heavy favorite at plus 375.
I was going to guess your Chanticleers.
Nah, their football team, they still got some rebuilding to do. They're plus 1750, so 17.5 to 1 to win that one. Same as Southern Miss, tied with the Golden Eagles there. I just had to jump into the Sun Belt there for my Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Real quick before I waste too much time, Arch Manning in most books is plus 600 to win the Heisman, followed by Garrett Nussmeier. Is he still at LSU?
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
So he's it's so crazy this day and age. We have to. Are they still there? Mm-hmm. Are they still there? They go somewhere else. Obviously, Cade Klubnik up there in the realm of possibility as well. Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sayin, Drew Allar, Lenora Sellers. Did he stay at South Carolina?
Yeah,
that's
so
good. That's good.
Has anybody ever went wire to wire, like preseason favorite for the Heisman and hoist the trophy?
I'm sure. I couldn't name it off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's...
Because it seems like every year...
I'm trying to think of my lifetime, like just the ones that I remember, and I would say that starts maybe like 2000 or something like that. I don't think so, man. Because you make the argument for Bryce Young when he won?
Every year, somebody in like late October comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because was Cam Ward the preseason favorite last year?
I'm trying to go into it.
No.
It was probably Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, probably. You're right. Maybe I don't know how you search that, but we shall figure it out. All right, real quick story about the Heisman Trophy favorite. It's from The Athletic. It's called Raising Arch: How Cooper and Ellen Prepared Texas Quarterback for the Manning Family Spotlight.
There's two examples real quick. 2014 with Marcus Mariota and 2004 with Matt Leinart.
Okay.
Being number one in the poll going into the season and finishing those
winning
are
the
most recent examples.
Okay.
So about every 10 years, which means we're due.
So put your money on Arch Manning. Cooper Manning began to suspect his oldest son might be a gifted athlete when in elementary school. He noticed Arch could really throw and was always able to run around and make plays in flag football. But even when Arch was only 4 or 5, there was something different about him. Whether he'd go to a Colts game to watch his Uncle Peyton or Giants game to watch his Uncle Eli, the little kid would sit there riveted from start to finish. He never wanted to go run around in the halls or go eat popcorn and nachos, Cooper said. He just watched football like he was in a trance. At home, Arch didn't play video games. He wanted to go outside and play catch, shoot hoops, or have his dad hit him fly balls. We threw more footballs in the den over his mother's head while a football game was on. She said she'd be like, "Please don't do this. Oh, here comes a lamp." And he was right. Cooper said there had always been something getting broken. Now Arch, 21, a former top-ranked recruit from New Orleans, entering his 3rd season at Texas, but first as a starter after patiently waiting behind Quinn Ewers. He's made two spot starts in his first 2 seasons, where the Longhorns could top the preseason polls in large part of the excitement around the 6'4", 225-pound redshirt sophomore. Behind the scenes, Arch has drawn rave reviews from coaches for his football intelligence, athleticism, and makeup. But Cooper, the oldest of former Saints quarterback Archie Manning's 3 sons, wasn't about to go telling anyone that his kid is some athletic prodigy growing up. Being the next Manning meant he didn't need to say anything like that on his own. You never want to be the dad who says his son's really something special, he said. When you share that with someone, you sound like a lunatic. When you're from football's first family of quarterbacks, that kind of thing is already baked in, whether you want all that comes with it or not. Cooper, it wasn't a quarterback like his dad or his younger brothers. The 51-year-old entrepreneur television personality was a gifted wide receiver who signed to play at Ole Miss, his father's alma mater. But as a freshman, he felt numbness in his fingers and toes during training camp. He was diagnosed with spinal stenosis, a narrowing of the spine and pinching of the nerves that meant the end of his playing career. As Cooper's children were growing up, he watched as his kid brothers blossomed into football icons. Peyton was the wizard who had the answers to every defensive scheme and adjustment whenever he dropped back to pass. Eli was the unflappable one who always seemed to be at his best when the spotlight was the brightest. Eli led the Giants to 2 Super Bowls and was named the MVP in both games. Peyton, a first-ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer, had won 5 NFL MVPs and 2 Super Bowls. People assume that the 2 former NFL stars have mentored their nephew, but that wasn't so much the case. Archie's been around a lot, and he always has been, said Archie's mother, Ellen. But really, Coop taught Arch how to play football. Interesting. Ellen and Cooper realize that doesn't make for a good story or draw many eyeballs. As much as they are great influencers, they weren't around a ton, Cooper said. I don't think Eli ever saw Arch play a high school or college football game. He is coming this year. Peyton would come to a game or two occasionally. Arch would see them at the Manning Passing Academy and may see him at Mardi Gras. But that's like 5 nights a year, so it's hard to say whether he's like them or someone else. I do think you can pick up little pieces of people that you like. Arch is probably just as likely to pick up a habit of Patrick Mahomes as he is Eli, with things you just like about people and the way they handle themselves. Unfortunately, anybody who watches anything can get more exposure to players they like and wait to mimic. Arch is actually much faster than either of the famous uncles. Doesn't seem that hard. Cooper said Arch gets his speed from his mom. Ellen was a track star in the family and all-district selection is a high jumper in New Orleans who led her high school to its first state title in volleyball and was inducted into the High School Hall of Fame. Asked Cooper about how he and Ellen raised their children, knowing the Mannings would come with the hype associated with being the Mannings, and he can't help but laugh, knowing that he and his brothers didn't grow up in an era of social media and cell phones with camera. They decided to deflect all the early attention on Arch as best they could, and it helped that New Orleans offered more of a laid-back, easygoing vibe than most places. It also helped that Arch, from a young age, never wanted any of it. But that didn't stop college coaches from calling as early as 6th grade, trying to talk about scholarships. I was like, we're not having any of this scholarship stuff, Cooper said. This is ridiculous. He doesn't even have braces yet. Cooper and Ellen, who is an attorney, set up ground rules for their 3 children, May, Arch, and Hyde. When it came to the cell phones and curfews, the Manning kids had a lot less flexibility than most of their friends did. They didn't get cell phones until middle school. Even then, cell phones couldn't be used at dinner, and until they were in the 11th grade, they had to charge their phones at night in their parents' bedroom. They did, and you know what, and complain about it. Sure they did, Ellen said, but I'd mention to other people and they'd say, oh, I can't get my kid's face out of the screen, and my response is, well, take it away from them. It's like they're scared to do that. We never were scared to enforce rules that put into place because we believed in them. They had seen how social media had come into vogue and didn't love where some of it could be heading. Though their kids complained about restrictions, Ellen said they've come to look back and appreciate it. It was all a distraction, Cooper said. I just saw too many people taking their kids to dinner, and everybody else was talking, and the kids are on their phones. I thought, we're just not having this junk. I was a little old school, kind of copying my dad. We're not playing video games. Get outside and go play. I don't care. You're not hanging stuff around here and swiping and tumbling through some useless, endless stuff. We could all take a little hint from that. The story goes on to just kind of talk about how Arch came to be. I thought it was a really, really interesting story. It is on the Athletic if you want to check it out. It's just called, what was it called? Because I know we got to go to break. It is called Raising Arch, How Cooper and Ellen Prepared Texas Quarterback for the Manning Spotlight. We got to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming. He is out in Colorado, but still has time to jump and talk golf. We'll be right back.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
Pat Costello, and I'm Holmes. Go ahead.
So if Mahomes only wins one more title, would we look at it as disappointing?
Stop. Please stop.
Yeah, I would say that's disappointing.
Oh, what?
I would say that's disappointing.
Because he's
based on how he started, that would be disappointing. I'm just gonna call it what it is. It'd be disappointing.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, a likelihood of thunderstorms and light sprinkles and a temperature of 87 with wind 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the west. Partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms tonight, a light breeze and warm near 77. Mostly sunny and at 88 tomorrow. 89 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Celebrate the 4th with big mattress savings here at the Sleep Center. Stop by today and you can save up to $200 on select Sealy mattress sets. Sealy, made in the USA and available at
the Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Now in stock at Tommy Otto's.
2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude. Luxury at a value price. $13,995 or a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe Sport with one owner. Sporty and affordable. $11,995 at Tommy Otto's.
Buy here, pay here. Financing options available. Everyone is approved. Tommy Otto's, 2209 West 15th Street, Panama City. 850-960-8664. For the latest deals and specials, follow Tommy Otto's on Facebook. Add tag, tax, and title.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Celebrate the 4th with big mattress savings here at the Sleep Center. Stop by today and you can save up to $200 on select Sealy mattress sets. Sealy, made in the USA and available at
the Sleep Center, where it's bedtime all day long.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus Studios, it's the Inside Drive. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 here in Panama City and Panama City Beach, all of the beautiful Bay County and surrounding areas. Our growth is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you want to hop on board, now is the time. We got college football, NFL football coming up soon. Reach out to us. We'll tell you about all of our wonderful sponsorship packages. We've got a lot of opportunities for football coming up this fall. Also, if you love sports betting, our Hard Rock July action is going to be rocking and rolling. I've told you about a couple so far. One player turned a $1 6-leg parlay into $22,000. See all the big wins if you follow Hard Rock Bets on social media. Are you next? Hard Rock is offered by the Seminole Indian Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? All you got to do is call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Was that one player's name David Hayes?
The
dollar into 22 grand.
Probably.
Wait, what? Turn a dollar into 22 grand?
Yeah, 6-leg parlay.
Man, that would be nice. No, I think my biggest dollar win is like $70 or something like that, which is still fun.
Yeah, for $1, absolutely.
But I'm on a hiatus right now. I'm on a hiatus. Maybe a permanent hiatus, but I doubt it.
Football season will roll around, and the bug will, But anybody that needs, to get off it,
yeah,
1-800-ADMIT-IT.
And you go into, everyone goes into this differently, but for me, I literally just bet for the sweat aspect of it. It is fun to win, but I know that it is a waste of money, right? Because I'm putting but I got a little caught up there with baseball season. I would put $20 in, and then 2 or 3 days later, that's gone. So I was chasing a little bit. I was like, all right, time to just give baseball season.
Yeah, I've been on a hiatus since March Madness, and I've got the itch, but still not quite ready to throw the money in there yet.
Yeah, it's tough. Baseball is just tough because I just feel like any sport, anything can happen. But anyway, we are a proud partner of Hard Rock Bets. You can download it here in the state of Florida. They've got lots of stuff coming up in July. We'll keep it updated for you. But if you want to win money, there's only one guy you got to listen to in the golf and football world, and that's our good friend Keith Fleming. He's joining us all the way from the hopefully drier, less humid state of Colorado.
What's going on, Ryan?
Oh, we're just hanging out here in studio. Excited to talk to you about the John Deere Classic.
Yeah, I am very excited out here visiting one of my oldest friends, and we're getting at the age where when you say someone's your oldest friend, it's significant time that you've been friends. So Ricky came out with us. My wife's out here. We're gonna play golf the next 3 days. I'm pretty pumped.
Nice, and playing some pretty cool golf courses out there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, going to be 8,000, above sea level for this golf course today. So.
You better dial it back a little bit on your distances, because as we all know,
I'm going to be sending texts to everybody saying I just hit my 7-iron 160 yards. So be ready for them.
Yeah.
Rip it and rip it.
That's it. That ball goes a little bit farther there in altitude. Keith, anything you want to talk about specifically before we dive into the course preview and plays and all that good stuff?
Can I ask, what's going on with my guy, who I can't ever get his name right, Colin Morikawa?
He's just
Morikawa.
That's right. It is Morikawa.
I just nailed it. So, and on the road. I think I get bonus points for it, but I'm seriously concerned. What's going on with this guy. Remember, he's won 2 majors. He is very young. He's very good, very talented, one of the best ball strikers, not just on tour, but, statistically that we've seen in the last, 2 decades, since the turn of the century. And his behavior has been wild lately, from the contentiousness he's had with the media, saying, I think, one of the worst quotes of all time is, I don't owe you people anything. It's like, I think that he would obviously, have a press conference if he won a tournament. I'm sure he would answer all the questions they wanted, and I think some of these guys need to remember that. It's a two-way street. And then this caddy deal is wild. This is, I think, his 4th caddy this year. Is that right, Ryan? Am I right on the track?
It's either 3 or 4, but it's such a red flag on what's going on for you to just kind of have this revolving door right now for your caddies, because as we've talked about quite a bit here on the show and on our podcast, the caddy-player relationship could be one of the most important in sports when it comes to multiple people. So the fact that he's
well documented in Happy Gilmore, Ryan.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Relationship between a caddy. We saw Happy with the Will Zalatoris, I think, when he was like 12.
Yep.
But, him and the homeless gentleman, they had a really good connection.
They did.
Wait, that really is Will Zalatoris?
No, but it got me when they talked about it, too.
It certainly looks like him, but it is not actually him. No, that would have made the story even better. But yeah, I don't know what's like. If you're burning through caddies like that, that is not a good thing, because that shows me a lack of trust. And for him to not trust that many people, sometimes that leads me to think it's not the caddies, it's the player.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in the cranium, and I don't know if that's always a good thing in golf.
Not for golf, no.
I think Bryson struggles with this at times, and he's doubted back. Keegan definitely does. I don't know if you saw his quote about, he didn't get in until literally the night before the player invitational where they play with the amateurs, and they asked him, are you gassed? He said, I normally can't sleep for days after he wins a tournament. And you can see that with his pre-shot routine and stuff.
Yeah.
Jittery guy.
Yes, very, very jittery. There's no doubt about that. Well, hopefully Morikawa can figure out what's going on. I know he kind of been snapping at reporters as well, and the few times he did do some interviews, and that was a couple weeks ago up there at the, I forget which tournament that was, but that was on a Wednesday, talking about how the one guy was kind of giving him some jabs, and then Morikawa just kind of got in a heated exchange with him, like he's just super defensive and burning through these.
You can't say what he said, though, and not expect repercussions from the media.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to put a target on your back when you say, I don't owe you anything. It's like, dude, you're a professional golfer. You make money because, it's advertised, and people want to see it.
Yep.
So the media is an important part of that, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't get away with at times just declining to speak. That's okay, but to say I don't owe you anything is just.
It's a little different.
I hope it was just a really bad phrase and not really what he was thinking.
Yeah, I hope so too. I've always liked him as a golfer, but it's no easy task being successful on the biggest tour in professional golf. So I can't imagine the stress and the stuff that they go through week in and week out. Not necessarily him being as good as he is and pretty much guaranteed his position on the tour for years to come. I could see.
They all want to win, though.
Of
Ryan.
course, they're uber
get to that
competitive.
level, exactly. And I do think that that's one of the hardest things for all these guys. Is especially they grew up idolizing Tiger Woods.
Yep.
And I think they all thought they would be the next Tiger Woods, right? And win all these tournaments in bunches. And I think the biggest lesson is Tiger Woods is really good. And these guys are really good. It's just so hard to win week in and week out. And it's not just is your game sharp, it's how sharp are you mentally. Because it's just, again, golf is by far, I think, the biggest game of any professional sport in between the years.
Yeah, 100%. I do not disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. And we're seeing it week in and week out there with, guys like Tommy Fleetwood, which we talked about last week, just collapsed 2 weeks ago. Maybe that's not the right word, but obviously, made a bad swing from an easy quote-unquote shot and, ended up...
that was a collapse, Ryan.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I think it's okay to be critical. I do. He choked. That's what happens. It's golf. I don't think it's a big deal, but I also don't think you should hammer players for it because it happens. Anybody that plays golf at any competitive level knows how difficult it gets when you're right there in the thick of it. It's tough.
Yep. Absolutely. But kind of a, I don't want to say repeat, but a very similar week this week with the John Deere as it was last week for the Rocket Classic, which went, 5-hole playoff where we've had our first-time winner finally make a putt. At one point, I just thought those guys were just going to keep going back and forth. I mean, once Kirk got eliminated, which I'm sure was the favorite if you were going to be able to live bet. I wasn't in the state of Florida, so there was no live bet going on there. But yeah, just kind of kept drawing out there. And was it... I'm trying to remember who got it last week because I know it wasn't Potgieter.
Oh, Potgieter.
He did get it. He did get it.
Yeah.
That's right. His dad was just one interesting name too, Potgieter. You could say Potgieter.
I mean, that kid's 21, Ryan.
I know. They just keep getting younger and younger.
Big things ahead. He hits the ball so freaking far, and he's really good. He's obviously, again, he's a kid, so he's going to have to learn how to play on a professional stage, but I think it's pretty impressive what he's obviously done, in his first 2 years of being a professional. And we know those South Africans, man, they have a history of just kind of, finding their niche, winning majors, guys like Els and Goosen and Schwartzel, just the names go on and on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what's wild watching that, because when you're watching the playoff, you're only watching those guys hit, obviously.
Right.
But ball speed's 195 in a playoff. Come on.
Well, you remember that he lost.
Dude, yeah, earlier this year.
To a guy playing with him where he was consistently 50 yards ahead of him, which, I mean, God, it was unbelievable. And, again, it was good to see him get over the hump because he really should have won earlier this year. Didn't play great in the final round. I thought he played really good on Sunday, especially because he started off really shaky. And I was like, oh, man, here we go again. And then he just turned it on and, again, just overpowered the course. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. He's in the field this week. It's not a strong field. It's, I think, the weakest field this season, at least since we've been covering golf on this show. I mean, Ben Griffin is the betting favorite. I love Ben Griffin, but he's like 16-1 to win. Guys like Jason Day and Denny McCarthy are 25-1, just showing, again, the weakness of the field. But this is an event, to your point, very much like last week. Very easy scoring conditions. I believe it's since 2000 been a very competitive tournament with 16 of the editions either ending in a playoff or with one player winning by one stroke, so you can expect things to be tight on Sunday. It's also been a place where a lot of guys have gotten their first-time big moment. They're turned out to be really good players, guys like Jordan Spieth, Bryson DeChambeau, Davis Thompson obviously won here last year. I think you mentioned it earlier on the show, but just the tidbit about the rental house is insane. For those that don't know, there has been one single rental house that is near TPC Deer Run that in 2022, J.T. Poston rented it. In 2023, Sepp Straka did. And last year, Davis Thompson did. All three of them went on to win the tournament after renting this same house, which is just wild. And, of course, Denny McCarthy is the person, because everybody wants to know, who rented it this year. He comes into an event that he's finished 7th or better the last 3 years. If he wins this week, again, we love trends, right, Ryan? They don't necessarily have to have a rhyme or reason. They just have to keep happening.
That's it.
If you're a math guy, that means that something's in your favor. So I'm definitely wagering him. I don't love betting him at 25-1, but again, knowing that and with his history at this course, why wouldn't you? Just like for stats and stuff this week, again, very much like last week, I want players that are elite iron players, especially from that 50 to 150 yards. This is one of the shorter courses on tour. There's 8 par 4s that are less than 440 yards. So, again, see a lot of wedges. All 3 par 5s are 550 to 600 yards, very reachable for like the majority of the field now on the PGA Tour, and it has literally the easiest set of par 3s of any venue that is annually played on the PGA Tour. So, obviously, again, iron play is going to be a big factor. Wedge play, you want hot putters in these events. I mean, sometimes that's hard to predict, but if somebody is putting well coming into the event, that's a good sign. There's not really any penalty off the tee. Yes, there is some pretty nasty rough, but these are the 9th widest fairways on tour, so guys have to be really wayward, to miss the fairways. And then just really looking again at birdies or better gained. I mean, in these scoring fests, one thing I have learned from people that are smarter in this industry than I am is that guys that make a lot of birdies usually do well on easy courses.
Saw that last week.
We saw it last week. I am hammering it again this week. It was part of the equation last week, not nearly as big of a part of the equation as it was this week. And then again, obviously par 4s. When you have 3 par 5s and that extra par 4, I just think that it makes it a little more imperative that these guys can score on par 4. So I did look into that as well. But overall, there is some course history here. There's some guys that have repeatable finishes, but a lot of the guys that have won the tournament or really done well here could have either missed the cut or not played in the event, in the previous 2 years or making their first start. So I did obviously like players that also have a good record at TPC Deer Run, but it wasn't something that I was really looking into this week.
Yeah, absolutely. That trend thing, I was just thinking about it more after you talked about it with the staying at the house. If I was those homeowners, I would jack up my rates to see.
Right?
Yeah, and that's gambling. That's right. Gambling in a nutshell. If there's any kind of pattern, trend is the word we like to use in the betting world, that kind of gives you a safe feeling, so to speak, in the gambling.
Think about Denny McCarthy, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go win this tournament. I'm staying in 102 Robin Lane,
right?
Whatever it is.
Yeah, he's like, not only have I not missed the cut this year, and I'm playing arguably the best golf of my career, he just needs to pick up a W. He rented the house that, has obviously won 3 years in a row. We just talked about a lot of it between the years.
Yep.
Again, it's, will it happen? Probably not, but if it does,
it does. That'd be
I would
wild.
be good to myself if I did not, throw a couple bucks down at 25-1. Why not?
No doubt. Keith, are we seeing kind of a little bit of a shift right now on the PGA Tour where the Griffins, the McCarthys, the Postons, the Knaps, all these younger guys that have been playing well are starting to become like, and maybe it's just because these last 2 weeks we haven't had the Schefflers and those guys in these tournaments, but are we seeing this group of about 6 to 10 guys that are maybe like the guys we're going to be hearing about, year in and year out the next 5-10 years?
Thorbjorn is another guy that all of a sudden is playing really well.
Yep.
Obviously, we're talking about Pogeider. I think that their odds are more about just the field But I think that's a great potential opportunity for us, like come Scottish Open Championship.
It's a bigger
the rest
tournament.
Of the season. Yeah, because, I mean, if you're getting these guys at 50, 60 to 1, I mean, that's a great value. We've seen these guys are not afraid of the moment. Again, they seem to play really well, and they're just uber talented and not afraid of anything. But I said it last week, and I really do mean it. I think the PGA Tour is at one of the better places it's been in a long time. Viewership is up, which is nuts. In the modern sports landscape, so many sports actually, their viewership is going down. And really, they outside of Scheffler and Rory don't have a ton of big names. But I think that we're going to see that next bunch of those guys maybe come out of some of this group, and then obviously the Bryson and stuff that kind of take. Oh, and actually, I guess that's not fair to Bryson. He's probably a star too, staying with his YouTube channel and everything. But there's not a lot of obviously there's not going to be a Tiger Woods, but I don't even think Scheffler and Bryson are anywhere near as popular as Rory at this point.
Popularity, yeah, for sure. Keith, real quick before marketability is massive. Real quick before we take our break, did you see that Miles Russell looks like he's going to be playing for Florida State University? So the kid who basically went pro is now going to play for Coach Jones and the rest of the guys over there at FSU. So staying in state, as he is from Jacksonville Beach, but Florida State keeps on winning on that recruiting trail. So I know
the score he shot at Piedmont Driving Club in the final round of the U.S. Open qualifier is outrageous. I've played that course quite a few times and never thought, hey, there's a 62 out here.
Yeah, these kids are just insane. And he's 16 years old. Quick breaking news before we break. Mike Brown to become the new head coach of the New York Knicks. With that being said, we've got Keith Fleming on the line. You can follow him Twitter/X, KeithFleming. He's out there in Denver, Colorado. We'll be back with a DFS plays and betting cards next.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
The young man from Oklahoma forgets everything that's come out of Oklahoma the last 40 years is a bunch of hooey. They haven't had a good coach back there since Chuck Fairbanks, okay? And everybody who's coached there... Chuck Fairbanks.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, a likelihood of thunderstorms and light sprinkles and a temperature of 87 with wind 10 to 15 miles per hour out of the west. Partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms tonight, a light breeze and warm near 77. Mostly sunny and at 88 tomorrow. 89 and mostly sunshine with a light breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All sterling silver jewelry is 25% off. All silver chains, pendants, earrings, bracelets, and rings. Also, our entire stock of Bulova watches, 20% off. And we are offering free 6 months layaway. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas and July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose, hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport, the best place in town to take a leak.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Get your DraftKings app out. Get your Hard Rock Bets app up and running. It is time to find out what the official plays and betting card are from our good friend and expert, Keith Fleming. He is out there in Colorado enjoying that crisp, non-humid air that we are barely breathing in down here in the Florida Panhandle, as it is very, very thick. But Keith, a little bit of a repeat from next year. I feel like these last 2 weeks kind of getting tough to figure out who to kind of go at the top to anchor your quote-unquote lineup. I feel like we're at the point where we can double dip a little bit, especially with the lower guys being a little more available, so to speak. But yeah, let's dive into it. Hard to believe we are getting ever so closer to the Open Championship, which means we're getting ever so closer to the FedEx Cup playoffs and the end of the season.
Yeah, it's one of those deals that I get a little depressed about, but then I realize DFS football would be right around the corner. So
yes, sir.
It's easy to get over that. I do want to let you know, Ryan, Rick James and Joe Rogan said what's up, and it's not the Rick James and Joe Rogan that most people think, but my boys Ricky Paulston and Joe Eastet.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm sure you guys are about to have a lot of fun out there in Colorado, and I hope you play well.
We're already having fun, Ryan.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. It's what you got to do once you get out there. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit.
You got it. Again, this week I think that you should kind of stick to your guns. It's a weird field. Yes, there's a lot of different options. Last week I went with a really small player pool. It was awful. Just a pretty big whiff for me. Not happy about it. I lost a lot on DraftKings because of it, but I still think that my thought process was right last week, and I just, again, kind of shifted it a little bit to really including more of the birdie or better percentages, par 4 scoring, and then the big thing for me is just I want guys that excel from that wedge play, because we saw it last week, so many shots from 150 in. If you look at the top of the leaderboard, it is littered with guys that are very good from that number. So the guys that have played really well here that I just want to mention real quickly, Denny McCarthy again, top 7, each of his last 3 starts here, not missed the cut all year. I mean, he feels really safe in cash to me at 9,900 to make the cut and actually finish top 20 and have a chance to be, obviously the winner. Lucas Glover is also, I think, in that range. I think at 9K, he's going to be extremely underowned, and he has an unreal track record here. There's very few players that have had as many top 10 finishes as Glover has. He's won here before. So if he gets hot with his putter, we know with his iron game, Glover can really do well in these scoring fests. Bud Cauley, somebody who has kind of cooled off a little bit, but I think that's more the case of him playing courses that don't set up to his game. These are longer courses that really penalize you missing fairways. That's not the case this week. He's excellent on approach. He's excellent from that 150 in number. He's a really good putter. He does everything you want, and he's a really good par 4 player. Mark Hubbard is, I think, maybe the best value, though, this week of guys that have just an unreal track record here. I mean, you look, Hubbard is playing really good golf. Obviously, he had the top 10 finish last week, but looking back, I think it's 6 top 20 finishes in his last 8 starts. So you're getting him at a venue that he's finished in the top 10 here multiple times, finished top 24 times. So I think it's 7,700. He's a real deal. My most owned players in cash game lineups this week, Ben Griffin, 10-4. He's the best player in the field. He's finished 14th or better his last 6. And he's proved that really no matter what event, right now he is at the top of his game. And this is not like a Scotty Scheffler price, right? Like, he's the second most expensive player in the field, but he's 10-4. Normally we're talking about like Rory or Scheffler, one of those guys who spent 12, 13K. So I feel in cash it's like, okay, play Griffin. He's going to be high owned. Same thing for Jake Knapp. You saw him, again, play well last week. Any course, wide fairways, obviously distance is a big key. And wedge play, that's Knapp. He actually did not putt well last week. He has been a really good putter all year. If he'd have putted the way he has most of the season, he'd have won that event by several shots.
Easily.
I think he's a very good play this week. The guy that I don't have in a ton of lineups, but I do want to mention Michael Goldenson. He's really starting to play well. He makes birdies at a ridiculous rate. I believe he's 4th now on tour in birdie or better percentage. He plays par 4s and par 5s as well as anybody on tour. And these are the easiest par 3s, which is the one thing he kind of struggles with. So he's played here twice, finished 20th, and got in the top 10 last year. So he obviously likes this venue. And then Kevin Yu, 8,700, is probably my most owned guy. And, you know, him and the next guy, basically, are but the guys. Yu is somebody who's playing very well, has multiple top 20 finishes at this venue. He hits it a mile, but what's scary about him and Smalley, who is the other player I love this week, they both hit it really straight for guys that are extremely long off the tee, like top 40 on tour and driving distance. Obviously, they play very well on easy golf courses because when you hit it far and straight and it's a short golf course, that means you're going to have flip wedge into a ton of greens. So you at 8,700, I love. Same thing for Smalley, who's actually 800 cheaper. He's 7,900. Second on tour in par 4 scoring, which, again, that was a big factor for me this week. And just somebody who excels tee to green on approach. He's a really good putter. And, again, that 150 and in number, Smalley just excels. And he has been somebody who is kind of now, this is the third straight year, he really turns it on in the summer, kind of during this easy course stretch, and he's doing the same thing he did last year, really starting to have a lot of good finishes. The only other player that I'm playing in a lot of lineups this week is Sammy Valbecki. You know, that's my guy, Ryan. I can't get away from him, but he just, I mean, he's really good. Anytime it's an easy venue, I'm going to look at him because he's top 20 on tour and approaches. He's top 20 on putting. And he plays par 4s really well. He's top 40 in birdie or better percentage. And he did it again last week. Another easy venue, a top 20 finish. He's just, I think, a really good value at 7,300. This is one of those weeks. If you check out my DFS cheat sheet, I do have 6 plays that are under 7K. I wouldn't really build any lineups using that. I just think there's too many values in the kind of high 7K, low 7K range. And you can just pound lineups with, you know, combinations of you, Knapp, Thorvaldsen, Griffin, McCarthy, and Smalley. Like, you can really get creative this week and get 6 players you really like. Glover, again, 9K. Cauley, 8,600. Hubbard, 7,700, to where you don't have that super expensive guy that you have to put into your lineup. So I wouldn't get cute and try to go with these super cheap plays where it's really hit or miss. Whether or not, you know, they're going to make the cut, which in cash games, that is still the most important thing of all things, is make sure if all 6 guys players make the cut, you're going to cash in most single entries, like probably 95% of the time. So that's always my goal, and I love it when you have, you know, a DK pricing structure like you do this week where I can build a ton of lineups like that without playing any players under like $7,300.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're joined on the line by Keith Fleming. You can follow him on Twitter /X, KeithFleming. About to talk about some of the betting plays. Get your Hard Rock Bets app open. I kind of do it every time we're talking. I just built 2 lineups on DFS while we were talking because it's easy to do when you're talking about it. But Keith, I know you've got all your cheat sheets up there at fantasy6pack.net. Using code, I forget the code, you get 10%.
S6P PGA, you got 15% off. $8.50 a month is basically what it'd be with that code.
And you know, you'll pay for that maybe 20-fold, depending on how well you listen and how well your picks perform each week.
I will physically help anybody who signs up build their lineups.
Yeah.
So all you gotta do is, you know, get in our Discord and literally we will build the lineup out, talk it out. I'm good with that. We'd love to support.
But now is the time, too, with football season coming up, all that information you need to not only win DFS, but perform well in your fantasy football leagues. All that can be found there, not only in the Discord, but all over fantasy6pack.net.
Yeah, and anybody who has not given up on baseball bets like David, there is some good stuff on there, too, for baseball betting. They do a betting, basically, cheat sheet every day. Comes out usually by 2 p.m., and it has usually 4 to 6, you know, what these people that bet for a living, you know, think are the best plays for that day. And I know that Dave Eddy's been killing it with some of his baseball plays lately.
He has. And just because you're copying other people's bets, that's why would you not? Like, if they're winning, copy their bets. They don't try to mix it up and don't do what they do. It's easy to do that. You feel like you're kind of not doing it yourself, but, it's at the end of the day, you're trying to win some cash. So
the bet pays out the same, whether you copy it or...
all day, 100%. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. There's plenty of stuff that I plucked from other people that, I obviously read and follow because I think they're very smart and they know what they're doing. So I'm obviously going to look at what they're saying, and then, obviously I have my own plays that I feel confident in, but, if they can talk me into something, I'm all ears. Like, data is data.
That's it. Collaboration, it leads to success typically. But speaking of leading to success, let's talk about some of the betting card picks for the John Deere Classic.
Yeah, I don't want to talk outright winners because I just don't think it's a very good week to be placing. I mean, if you want to, sure. Like, again, McCarthy's down to 25-1. He opened at 28. Thorbison's 30. Hughes 35. Colley's 40s. Smalley's 45-1. Yager's 65-1. Like, those would probably be some that I would be okay with. Valmecky's 90-1. He finished 12th here last year. I meant to mention that as well. So, but I really like the value of the top 10 and top 20 plays, and it's low value plays. Ben Griffin's plus 175, the top 10. Finished, again, no worse than 14th his last 7 starts now on tour.
2-1 odds on Hard Rock.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting basically 2-1 odds on a guy who's finished top 10, 5 of the last 7 events in a very easy field and a very easy event. Like, I'd be shocked if Griffin's not around that range. So I think 2-1 odds is really good. McCarthy, same thing. He's finished 7th or better 3 years in a row at this venue. He's plus 260, the top 10. And he is also somebody that, again, we know that he's staying at the winner's house. So he's got that going for him. I love both of those bets. And in the top 20s, again, kind of smaller odds, but I just think they're very safe plays. Lucas Glover plus 175. I talked about it. There's nobody that's had more success at this venue than Lucas Glover. He's had 6 top 20s just since 2016 here. And one of the times he finished outside the top 20, he finished like 27. So weak field, I think Glover's a really good play. And I talk about Smalley, who I really like this time of year on these time of courses. You're getting almost 2-1 with him to top 20. He's plus 190. I feel like those are the values this week and just really safe plays. But there's also, like, you can get McCarthy 5-1 to top 5. You can get Kevin Yu 7-1 to top 5. Bud Colley's plus 750. And even like Stefan Yager plus 550.
Jaromir Jagr, I like that. Going back to the old Pittsburgh Penguin days.
I was like, damn, where did my brain go? So, again, we're having a good time out here, Ryan. We probably have already started partaking in some stuff, so I apologize.
I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Trying to focus. Stefan Yager plus 550 top 10. And again, Valmecki, who I really like, you can get him 14-1 to top 5, 7-1 to top 10, and 3-1 to top 20. But the bets that I kind of like trying to do, some 2 or 3 leg parlays where you build up those top 10 and top 20 plays I was talking about with Griffin, McCarthy, Glover, Smalley. Like, you could probably get 8-9-1 by putting 3 of those together. Or, again, you can just bet them outright. When you're getting almost 2-1 on something that I think is probable to happen, that's where, you just up your increments a little bit. Don't make as many bets, and, you can have a good week.
Yeah, no doubt. There's also a lot of really good matchup bets on Hard Rock where you can go 72 holes with 4 guys. You just got to pick the winner out of those 4
Brian,
guys.
I'm so bad at those. I have tried, and I'm awful at it. I mean, it's like me trying to do DFS basketball or baseball. I'm just awful. I can't. All I do is donate. And that's why I try to, stick strictly to golf and football. It's like, do what you know.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
I do love the matchups, and I think there's real values, and there's a lot of people out there that are very good at picking the winners in those. And I do suggest people, to what you're saying earlier, go out there and find those people.
Yeah.
I promise you, they're promoting their stuff. They would love for you to read it. And, winning 60, 70% of the time on these things, that is a success in gambling. Big time.
Big time
you
success.
You just want to make a profit, and then you want to try to occasionally hit a big one. And that's why I love golf, is you get that opportunity with, getting players that are 40, 50, 60, 70-1 to win.
Yeah, absolutely. So these 72-hole betting groups here, you're obviously not competing against the whole field. You're just competing against 4 other players. But like, for example, this one's got Griffin, Day, Poston, Kirk, and McCarthy. And McCarthy is plus 350 in this one, which, you know, if you follow all what you were saying.
What is Griffin?
Griffin's, he's the lowest. He's plus 210 to win that particular group. So he's actually a little less than his 15 to 1.
I do like the value of McCarthy. Like, to me, if you're going to bet that, I would rather take McCarthy. You're getting almost 4 to 1 odds.
Yeah.
And again, you finished no worse than 7th 3 years in a row. That is the kind of course history that somebody's going to ignore.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's why he is the betting favorite. You've also got some other fun things. Full tournament head-to-heads. That's just one other player that you're going against. And then you've also got first rounds. And I took a Denny McCarthy and Chris Kirk are the 18-hole first-round match. And I took Denny, even though he's minus 115. It's if you put enough units on that, I think that's going to be good. Chris Kirk obviously played fantastic last week. Is he going to be able to continue that after that tough playoff exit early in that one? We shall see. But there's a lot of different fun stuff on the golf, at least with Hard Rock here in the state of Florida, that you can kind of dip your toes into.
It's finally wised up and picked you as a sponsor. You know, like to sponsor you guys. I mean, that's no-brainer.
They did some stuff in January as well, but they kind of, these big national ones, they kind of jump and skip around a little bit versus like the local stuff that come into us. But yeah,
you guys talk more, and I listen to obviously David in the afternoon, so you guys talk more gambling and DFS than just about any radio station I know.
Well, a lot of that has to do with you, Mr. Keith, and we appreciate you jumping on with us.
It has to do with we're all degenerates, is really what it has to do.
That's what I was saying.
That's what most people are that are sports fans. So,
1-800-ADMIT-IT. That's who you can call here in the state of Florida. If 1-888, excuse me, not 1-800. But Keith, we appreciate you taking the time from your trip out there to Colorado to jump on with us here on the Inside Drive.
Ricky and Joe, they're the ones that turned down the rodeo, and they've actually been talking in a quiet voice. I feel like a jerk. So
no, I'm proud of them.
That's good. That for me.
That's good.
Check out Coors Field. It's beautiful, even though the team sucks.
Yeah, it was really cute. The Rockies fans were in In-N-Out Burger with us last night, and they were telling Astro fans I saw, we almost had you. And I'm like, man, I remember those days when I was really young with the Braves when they would lose all the time. It's just a horrible place to be as a sports fan. Or that's really all you can say. It's just like, what are they going to say? You've won 19 games this year, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Not a whole lot there to hang.
We're planning on checking that out, definitely.
Yeah.
They're in town for the next few days.
Well, have some fun, and I'm sure we'll talk to you soon, Keith. Enjoy it. Appreciate Ricky and the other gentleman who I forgot his name, Joe, for allowing you to jump on here on the Inside.
Joe.
Dr. Joe.
He didn't go to school for 10 years to be called Joe.
That's true.
Dr. Joe.
That's true. Dr. Joe. We appreciate Ricky and Dr. Joe for letting you come on with us. Have a great time over there, Keith. We'll talk to you soon, if not next week.
Absolutely, guys. Have a great day.
All right. You guys listen to the Inside Drive final segment on this Wednesday. We're going to dive into our afternoon delight debriefs. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Dan Patrick Show. LeBron's staying, but they want to be in the sweepstakes for Giannis. That's what struck me here is, hey, Milwaukee has traded a big man to Los Angeles before, and it worked out really well for the Lakers. Can they get Giannis? Would they be involved in that picture when you clear LeBron's salary off the books?
It's the Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 9 till 11. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Tired of boring merch and want your brand to stand out like the big names? Elevate your look with Red 7 Tees. They don't just print shirts, they create bold identities. They are a veteran-owned custom apparel shop providing the kind of detail that turns heads, using high-quality digital printing and embroidery to give you that unique style you love with no minimums or cookie-cutter designs. From small business to sports teams, if you've got a vision, they'll help you wear it proudly. Visit red7tees.com.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. This is not for the casual fan. This is for the warriors. This is for the legends.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, your Atlanta Braves coming up after the afternoon underdogs, who go from 4 to technically 5:57 p.m. The coverage will start at 6 p.m., followed by first pitch in the game against the Los Angeles Angels up there at Truist Park, where the evening games are where you want to be, because it is certainly toasty during the middle of the game. Got another game coming up tomorrow that completes the series against the Angels. Hopefully the Braves can even it up at 1-1 this evening, and then maybe win the series tomorrow night. Again, first pitch, 6:15. Coverage starts at 6, going all the way through Sunday with a 3-game series against the Orioles. We got 6 coverage, 6:15 first pitch. Saturday, 1:55 coverage, 3:10 first pitch, and then Sunday, 11:20 a.m. coverage, first pitch at 12:35. We appreciate Best Way Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, and Brock Pest Control for helping us bring you the Atlanta Braves. All right, our new thing we do on Wednesdays is, because we have Keith at noon, we kick our Afternoon Delight debrief to the 12:40 segment, and we've got several great ones today. I'll kick this one off. It's a little kind of gruesome, I guess you could say, but the title of this article is Bison Boils to Death in Yellowstone Hot Spring in Front of Tourists.
Old Faithful?
Oh, I don't know if it's Old Faithful. We'll find. Oh, it's near Old Faithful. It's the Midway Geyser, but a bison was gruesomely boiled. And I hate to laugh. I have nothing against bison. This is just...
They're tasty.
Yeah, they are. Bison burgers. Bison makes some good stuff, that's for sure. Bison was gruesomely boiled to death at a Yellowstone National Park hot spring last week as tourists watched in horror. A buffalo met its ghastly end when it appeared to stumble into the scalding water at Midway Geyser Basin near Old Faithful, according to the Park Service. There were 2 bison standing there, said Louise Howard. We witnessed the bison's death during her first ever visit to Yellowstone, per CBS News. They thought it was a great photo opportunity, but the shudder-worthy sight quickly turned tragic when one of the bison stepped into a small part of the basin, then later tried hopping out. Within a matter of seconds, the beast began teetering at the edge of the Grand Prismatic Spring, the largest hot spring in the entire park, and then unfortunately fell in. As hard as it tried, it couldn't get out, said Howard, who snapped pictures of the bison's final moment. Fortunately, the animal met its end. The poor animal met its end fairly quickly, according to Michael Poland, the scientist in charge at the Yellowstone Volcanic Observatory. There are some pictures on there. The animal was thrashing around so intensely that it moved into an even hotter area of the Grand Prismatic, thus passing away faster. Poland dispelled rumors that the water was acidic, and that's what killed the animal, instead pointing out to its intensely high temperatures. The Grand Prismatic reaches temperatures of 192 degrees. The boiling point at Yellowstone is about 200 degrees because of its high altitude. The bison carcass is basically sitting in a pool of nearly boiling water, and that boiling water will eat away at the organic material, tissues, and eventually there will be some bone, Poland explained. It's not uncommon for animals at Yellowstone to succumb to the park's hot springs.
It's a big sous vide bath.
Yeah. Except you're not going to be able to go get it to eat it. But yeah.
All right, this one took an interesting turn as I read the article.
See, you can't read the articles before you read them on the air. That's the excitement of it all. Done that too many times and been surprised.
Police found a missing woman 60 years after she disappeared. She wants to stay hidden.
So she didn't want to be found.
6 decades after a young mother vanished from her small city in south central Wisconsin, authorities have found her alive and well in another state. Audrey Beckborn was 20 years old when she disappeared from Reedsburg in July of 1962, according to a bulletin from the Wisconsin Department of Justice. It says the family's babysitter claimed that the two of them hitchhiked to Madison, about 55 miles away, and then took a Greyhound bus to Indianapolis. She said she last saw Audrey walking around the corner away from the bus stop. It reads, Audrey never returned home and has not been heard from again. That is until now. The Sauk County Sheriff's Office announced last week that it has resolved Blackburg's long, cold missing persons case, saying she is alive and well and currently resides out of the state. Further investigation has revealed that Miss Blackburn's disappearance was by her own choice and not the result of any criminal activity or foul play, Sheriff Chip Meister said.
Wow. Hey, that's very different than most of the missing person cases, but apparently this person wanted to stay missing. Pivot back to this one. Medical clinic pleads for a stop to unsolicited urine samples. This is from today. A medical clinic in Scotland is asking local residents to stop bringing in inappropriate or unsolicited urine samples. The Saltoun surgery in Fraserburgh, Aberdeenshire, said on social media that doctors and medical staff at the clinic have been inundated with a high volume of unsolicited urine samples, often in non-medical household containers instead of sterile sample containers. Please be advised that we are no longer to accept urine samples unless they have been specifically requested by the practice, the Post said. This change is necessary due to the high volume of inappropriate or unsolicited samples being submitted, which affects our ability to provide timely care to all patients. A British Medical Association Scotland representative explained doctors need to perform examination before they can interpret urine test results. Each unsolicited sample handed in requires time and medical supplies to test in practice. Contact the patient for information and then interpret the results and or send away for further testing, the representative told STV. One doctor speaking anonymously to the Times of London said multiple clinics have had to put up signs asking patients not to bring unsolicited urine samples. We really, really want patients to speak to a clinician for a proper medical assessment before we ask them to bring a sample in, the doctor said. And when they do, we will issue them with sample bottles to return rather than random domestic containers, which can sometimes be inappropriate. The doctor said the culprits are often older patients seeking to be tested for UTIs without first consulting medical experts. I wonder what the inappropriate containers were that they were bringing stuff in.
Probably like Ziploc bags.
Yeah.
Walmart bags.
Yep, the grocery bags. Yeah, I don't know what that's.
Rubber gloves.
Yeah. You part of this epidemic here?
No.
You just got good ideas.
Yeah, just good ideas.
There you go.
I'm just thinking of things that can hold urine, you know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now, when was the date that they stopped accepting samples?
I don't know if they said the date. They said.
That's kind of important information because I sent mine off 3 days ago.
Yeah,
he still got some samples in his truck.
Yeah. I like to let them heat up a little bit, get right back to kind of that normal temperature.
Body temperature. Absolutely. You just got to leave in your car for 4 minutes and then good to go.
All right, I got another one here.
Perfect.
Researchers puzzle over the rash of baby monkey kidnappings. On an island in Panama, a fad that one researcher called viscerally disturbing has recently taken off among a group of young male monkeys. These adolescents and juveniles have started to kidnap the infants of another monkey species, seemingly just for kicks. That's what scientists think after watching a bunch of male white-faced capuchin monkeys walking around with baby howler monkeys clinging to their backs. The perplexing baby snatchings reported in the journal Current biology suggests that humans aren't the only intelligent species with youngsters that pursue apparently pointless activities that can be destructive to other creatures. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it, to reduce
I thought
their
this
boredom.
is what we evolutionized from or whatever.
Oh, this quote's awesome. They're doing it just for the sake of doing it, to reduce their boredom or have something to do to fill the time and space in their lives. And I think seeing this occur in another species is somewhat terrifying because it kind of reflects a mirror of the actions we do as people, says Brendan Barrett, an expert in animal culture at the Max Planck Institute of Animal Behavior in Germany, a member of the research team who is also research associate at the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute. He describes the capuchin monkeys as chaos agents that roam through the forest, ripping up and manipulating everything in sight, and says they're similar to humans and chimps in many ways. They're highly innovative, they're highly explorative, he says. They do interesting, strange things.
That's the old phrase, get the monkey off your back, right?
Yeah, just put it on another monkey's back.
Yeah, there you go. Just for fun. So apparently they're keeping themselves occupied as well. That was in the country of Panama.
Yeah, the country of Panama.
Nice, nice. We always used to have a lot of people call us at the golf course. And they'd be talking about, how far are you from the airport, stuff like that. And they'd be like, we're flying into Panama. Is that ECP? They're like, no, whatever that is.
What's better? A 3 or 4 day sailboat trip.
Yeah. Just hope that you're not on the poop cruise.
We've had people book hotel rooms thinking they're in Panama.
We used to have people book golf rounds all the time doing that.
What does zip code give it away or something?
Or the fact that we have a 2-story hotel and they're booking on the 5th floor.
Yeah. Good point there.
Or the country code is not just the one. But
people only pay attention to the first word, Panama.
That's true.
That's true.
New Cedar Point ride strands riders on opening day.
Oh, there you go.
This is from July 1st. The newest ride at Ohio's Cedar Point Amusement Park experienced a delay on the first day it opened to the public and left riders stranded in a vertical position for at least 10 minutes. Tony Clark, a spokesman for the Sandusky Park, told the Akron Beacon Journal that the Siren's Curse experienced a delay when riders reached the tilt coasters area of where the passenger car stopped to turn on a 45-degree angle. The coaster safety system performed as designed. The ride was restarted, and the guests continued their ride, Clark said. Siren's Curse reopened shortly after all guests exited the ride safely. Riders were stranded in a vertical position for at least 10 minutes. A video posted on TikTok captured the moment the technicians were able to return the riders to the upright position. The ride was closed for about 25 minutes before resuming normal operation. The incident occurred Saturday, which was Siren's Curse's official opening day to the general public, after it opened to season pass holders on Friday. I don't know if I want to be the next group of people to get on the ride there.
Nah. No, I think I'm good on that.
Especially when you're stuck like that.
Authorities say a babysitter checked under the bed for a monster and found someone.
Woo, that's a nightmare.
The myth of this was March 28th.
Michigan Eddie said Cedar Point is the best park ever. We only got a minute left, so
yeah.
All right, so the myth of the boogeyman hiding under the bed came true for one Kansas family this week after a child's complaint led to the man's arrest. The Barton County Sheriff's Office said in a statement that it responded to reports of a disturbance at a house outside the city of Great Bend on Monday. Holy cow, that's where I was born.
Irony.
The unnamed babysitter told authorities that she was getting the kids ready for bed when one complained about a monster under their bed. Her efforts to reassure them otherwise didn't go quite as planned. When the victim attempted to show the child there was nothing under the bed, she came face to face with a male suspect who was hiding there, the sheriff's office statement said. An altercation ensued with the babysitter and one child knocked over in the struggle. The suspect is a 27-year-old man who once lived at the residence the statement says, but was under protection from abuse order.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Atlanta Braves play here.
Tonight, the Braves are back for exciting interleague play at Truist Park. It's the Los Angeles Angels versus the Atlanta Braves. We'll have live coverage coming up at 6. First pitch at 6:15 right here